We go for launch.
5.
Quiet, numbskulls, I'm broadcasting. Anything can happen in the next half hour.
4.
My friend, we cannot keep this a secret any longer.
This whole thing is insane.
3.
Quiet, please. I am analyzing.
Where's the kaboom?
2.
There was supposed to be an earth-shattering kaboom.
1.
I know I turn everything into a joke, but I care. I want to use that for something important. I waited a long time for this team up. In my world, you're well regarded. You were an X-Man. Fuck that, you were the X-Man. The Wolverine. He was a hero in my world.
Yeah, well, he ain't shit in mine. Scott used to beg me to wear this suit. So did Doran and Beast. But I couldn't have him thinking I wanted to be there. And it was too late.
It's only 9 people, but my entire world is right here in this picture. And I have no idea how to save it alone, but you know how to save it.
Whoever you think I am, you got the wrong guy.
You were always the wrong guy. Till you weren't.
Are you ready?
Fuck yeah, I'm ready. I'm the Wolverine. Stop it.
Greetings, my fellow galactic travelers, and welcome back to Planet 8. This is your mission commander Larry speaking to you from our hidden base. Chief Engineer Bob is here by my side as always in the command center, and circling Planet 8 in our orbital spy satellite is Reconnaissance Officer Karen.
And we are back. Your intrepid Planet 8 crew had nothing better to do, so we're going to talk about Marvel movies. Just kidding. After recently seeing the Deadpool and Wolverine movie and hearing about all the shenanigans going on at San Diego Comic-Con, yes, indeed, we're going to be talking about Marvel once again. Our last Marvel outing was WTF Marvel, and everything kind of going to pot and falling apart, and now we're going to see, are they righting the ship? What's that, Bob?
I'm going to talk about, is it getting any better?
Is it getting any better? Have they righted the ship? Or anyway, straight away, let's kick it over to Karen because she's seen the movie twice.
Oh God!
What are your thoughts on Wolverine and Deadpool?
Well, I should preface that by saying I saw it twice, not because I loved the movie, but because the first time I had some unfortunate incidents before the movie that put me in a very foul mood, and so I felt like I was not focused on the film the first time. I was staying and angry, and so I thought I really owe it to the movie if we're going to talk about it to go see it again. And so the next time I saw it, everything was calm and placid, and so I was able to actually sit and focus on the film
without the bloody knuckles.
I was like, calm and placid is not how I would describe them. But please continue.
Yeah, I was on berserker rage the first time I saw the film, which actually, might be appropriate, but doesn't help you take in the movie. This film, I'm not a big Deadpool fan. I think I mentioned a while back that we went through all the X-Men movies and the 2 Deadpool films in preparation for seeing this, and a little Deadpool goes a long way. That's kind of how I feel about Will Ferrell too, but that's another discussion. So I went into this kind of knowing that he's not my thing. I will say it was entertaining. It's amusing, but it's sort of, to me, it was sort of like junk food, because it's sort of like you when you're eating the junk food, it's like, oh yeah, this is yummy and I enjoy it. But then afterwards, it's just sort of this empty feeling. So it's sort of like, it doesn't, I don't feel like anything in this film really stuck with me afterwards. And like even hours later, I was kind of like, oh, what, is there anything like super memorable? And I don't know. If you take all the cameos out, the gimmicks, there's not much of a story there to hang anything on. You're really relying on sort of the chemistry between the two characters, which is good. And together they're pretty funny and entertaining. But like all in all, is there anything there that you're like really invested in, like in a Endgame or Winter Soldier way? So I don't know. I enjoyed it, but it's probably not one I'll go back to repeatedly. It's okay. It's like I don't know, right, minus maybe for me. It's just kind of amusing. And also I'm also one of those people, I don't like a lot of like over the top violent, gory stuff. So like that whole opening sequence, I thought was really gratuitous. But if you're into it, or you're a 14-year-old boy, you probably really enjoy it. So that's my big take on it. What about you guys?
Speaking of 14-year-old boys, Bob and I will now talk. Go ahead, Bob.
So you're saying it's kind of like the Chinese food movie of Marvel?
Well, you're already too late. 2 hours later.
2 hours later, you don't remember any of it.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I enjoyed it. I mean, gratuitous violence is okay by me. I was kind of chuckling through that whole first opening scene. But yeah, I mean, I've been pretty disappointed with a lot of the Marvel films lately, and the Marvel TV shows as well.
Sure.
So for me, this was kind of a step up, and I did enjoy the gratuitous cameos. And yes, we're going to spoil the crap out of this movie. So
yeah, that's a given.
Yeah, spoiler alert.
Yeah. So no, I mean, I particularly enjoy. I tried to avoid all spoilers going into it. One thing kind of leaked out a little bit, and that was the fact that Chris Evans was back. And but I thought it was handled well, because everyone thinks he's Cap. He's Captain America. There he is. Captain America. There he is. And he's going to take everybody on, and he's like taking the lead, and it's very Captain America like, until
flame on.
He says flame on, and off he goes. So I thought that was cool that they brought him back and he wasn't Cap. He was Johnny Storm. But did you guys stay for all the credits and the little? Yeah, okay. So and the whole fourth wall thing, breaking the fourth wall and talking to the audience, talking to the camera, referring to things kind of outside the excuse me, referring to things like outside the movie universe itself. Things like having, here they are in the middle of this one dimension, and there's the 20th Century Fox logo half buried in the sand, kind of thing, and just things like that. Or when Johnny Storm meets his end, and it's like, well, he was using up too much of the budget or whatever, so it's like, I kind of enjoy those things. I mean, I grew up on the Monkees. They used to do that all the time. So, and Monty Python too. That was a big thing with Python, is suddenly turning and talking to the camera, But I enjoyed it, for what it was. I think it was definitely a step up. Although I will agree with one statement in the movie that the multiverse has been overplayed.
Yes.
And it's been overplayed to this point, but they're going to overplay it some more. I think once the two Avengers movies are over, then maybe we can be done with the multiverse. But I mean, the multiverse is useful in that it can bring some of those actors back, characters back, things like that. But it's just kind of a crutch. It's so easy to use, you know, even with DC and the Flash, and bringing back Michael Keaton as Batman and things like that. It's like, it's an easy crutch to go back to something. But, you know, it was cool seeing Wesley Snipes as Blade and, you know, seeing Elektra and Gambit and all that. It's like, it was cool, but it was cool within the realm of a Deadpool movie. But when you start doing that in some of the other films too and things, then yeah, it's going to be a bit much. So we'll see what happens in the Avengers movies, where it'll be everything but the kitchen sink. I think I read somewhere that the first Avengers was at Doomsday now was going to have like 60 heroes in it.
Yeah.
60. Think about that. I had to kind of go back and think of the films and see if I could even name 60 heroes, that even like little bit parts and things that have been in these things. And yeah, no, I couldn't, but remains to be seen who they dredge up. Larry.
I didn't like it. Let's move on to the next up. No, just kidding. I'm not a big Deadpool fan. The first movie was different. Just, you know, all these F-bombs and stuff made it funny and amusing. Deadpool 2, I did not buy the physical media. That is my barometer. If I love it, the physical media comes into the library. If I don't love it, you can stream it until it stops streaming, and I probably wouldn't notice or care. So not a big Deadpool fan, but I am a Wolverine fan. And I thought it was interesting that they brought Hugh Jackman back. The last Wolverine movie had a poignant ending with the death of Wolverine. This is what it feels like. He saves X-23 and the other mutants, and they go on to their future.
But thank God for the multiverse.
Well, so that version of Wolverine, and I'm a big fan of the Loki TV show. The whole idea of Loki being able to redeem himself, or a Loki being able to redeem himself, and there are all these other Lokis out there. And then they parlayed that into the Spider-Man film, where Doc Ock comes back from the Tobey Maguire film, and then there's Electro from the whatchamajigger film. Also, the animated Spider-Man, you know, the second movie had every Spider-Man from every universe, whether it was a Viking Spider-Man, a horse Spider-Man, a pig Spider-Man. And, you know, is it silly and ridiculous? Yes. Was it fun? Sure was. I mean, you know, I enjoy, this was a great popcorn movie for me. I avoid spoilers like the plague. So curse you, Bob. Now I know there's 60 heroes potentially in Doomsday. But
yep, it's funny because, like I said, I was trying to avoid the spoilers, so I was staying off all the kind of Marvel geek sites. But the day I went to see it, while I'm at work, every time I opened a browser, Yahoo News had a different thing about a different character that was in the movie. And that's how the Chris Evans thing, like, I mean, that would have been a great surprise.
It was for me. I was going to say,
they spoiled it because, you know, it was like, oh, the movie's been out for 5-6 days, so we can say anything we want about it now. And it wasn't even like within the body of an article. It was the headline. As soon as you open your browser, boom, Chris Evans returns. It's like, fuck. So, you know, anyway, back to
I lucked out. I knew nothing. And so I went to like a 2:30 or a 3 o'clock showing, and it was on a Thursday too, or maybe it was Friday, but the theater was packed. And I'm like, wow, I'm at a Marvel film and it's packed. And Walkie, truth be told, I was sitting in the wrong seat and had to be told to move. So I feel both sides of the coin there. Sorry. Here, have some red vines. I apologize. The fourth wall thing works to a degree, but it got to be too much of hey guys, look at this. Oh wow, Marvel Jesus that. Oh wow, Hugh Jackman this. You know,
Mhm.
I'm a big fan of Laurel and Hardy, and the best humor with those guys is when Hardy just looks at you and goes, for 3 seconds, just 3 seconds, and then the movie goes on. I think that was overplayed. I was okay with the blood and the gore, but when they started like putting blades in people's sphincters and pulling them back and forth like a marionette, that was a bit much for me.
Mm.
Funny for the first 5 seconds, but once you got 30 seconds into it, I don't know. Yeah, and I like the whole concept of the TVA, and them, trying to write the timeline and the whole, let us not forget what built the MCU. Wesley Snipes and Blade was one of the first Marvel properties. I mean, yes, Catherine Crosby was Wonder Woman, and I forget who played Captain America with the plexiglass shield.
Oh, Reb Brown.
Reb Brown.
DC.
Yeah. So there were, Lou Ferrigno as the Hulk and Bill Bixby.
Nicholas Hammond as Spider-Man.
There were prior, but as far as a movie, and that was New Line Cinema. And so the whole idea that here are these forgotten heroes in the void kind of tugged on the heartstrings a little for me.
It was like a love letter to all the Fox properties, right?
Exactly. Like, thank you for, yeah, Electro was a shitburger, but we still appreciate you portraying this character and,
Yeah, and they don't, it's easy now for people to crap all over those films, but I still think like at least the first Blade and maybe the second as well were like really good films, really entertaining films, and Wesley Snipes was great as Blade, so it was fun to see him come back and be that character again.
Yeah, it got me to thinking. So besides Blade, Elektra, Daredevil, The Punisher, Ghost Rider.
Yeah, where was Ghost Rider? That would be funny to have like Nicolas Cage, right? Nicolas Cage drive up in the wasteland, and then
well, that wasn't going to happen. They blew that budget on Chris Evans. So
yeah.
I was so pleasantly surprised that he wasn't Captain America, because I was like, oh wow, he's playing Cap again. Because I when they cast him as Captain America, I probably talked about this. It was like he played Johnny Storm. He's Captain America.
Yeah, at the time I could not see him as Cap. I was like, that chubby guy. Yep.
So to go back and to have him and just curse like a sailor at the end of the, film was just like, again, it was a great popcorn movie. It was a lot of fun. I will go see it again, and I will purchase the physical media.
Dang. I don't know if I'll go again, but yeah, I'll probably get it when it comes out.
There was a lot of stuff. Oh, and the Wolverines that they showed us. Oh my God, Henry Cavill.
Well, they had all the uniforms too. Like he had his like brown uniform and his, whatever. It's like,
yeah, him fighting the Hulk. That was great.
Well, we didn't get to see him fight the Hulk,
but still to have that 5 seconds,
They duplicated, I forget which Hulk cover it is, but there's that really famous cover, I think, did Todd McFarlane draw it? Where he's in the brown uniform and he's like yelling and he's got his claws in front of his face and the Hulk's face is reflected in the claws, and they duplicated that with the Hulk's face and his claws. So that was pretty. I mean, if you're going to do fan service, you might as well do the stuff the fans really want to see.
Right.
And fans, you know, they love that kind of stuff, duplicating key moments from the comics. So I thought, you know, if you're going to make a movie that's mostly fan service, then do it right. And they did. And they got him in a yellow uniform. And I thought, how in God's name are you going to make this look okay? But, you know, they pulled it off. And I will say that Hugh Jackman, you know, he at times brought a certain level of like gravitas to the movie. There were times where he pulled out that like really gruff, you know, Wolverine, like when they were in the minivan, and he's like just, you know, ripping a new one on Deadpool. I was like, whoa, that was, and he just did that like it looked like in one take. And it was like, oh, that was really good. Or when the scene was going to come where he's going to tell somebody about what happened to his world, which I felt was like really like kind of disappointing. I kind of hoped that something would have happened where he was directly responsible for the deaths of the X-Men. It just like, oh, some aliens came and killed everybody. It was like, well, that doesn't make any sense, really. But again, he was, you know, emoting, and it felt like, oh, okay, this gives this film a little more weight. You know, yeah, he really, you know, he loves that character. I feel like, okay, they're doing two things at Marvel now that they feel like, okay, maybe this will like, you know, get us back on course. We got Hugh Jackman, and God knows they're going to use him. They've got him. They're going to use him. And we brought Robert Downey Jr. back, you know, so it reeks to me, the Robert Downey Jr. especially reeks of desperation. But the Hugh Jackman thing, it's like, you know, they want their Wolverine. I mean, I feel like they need to get a younger Wolverine in there at some point.
Here's the thing is that the box office and the fan reaction at Comic-Con appear to be paying off. Marvel's, you know, desperation is more money in the bank, and it's revitalizing the franchise maybe in a direction, in a way that we don't think it should go in. But, you know, just like Aquaman, I don't get Aquaman, but everybody loves Aquaman. So
I mean, is it desperation or is it admitting some mistakes? I mean, it was definitely
a little bit of both.
Whether the actor didn't want to play the part or whatever, whether it was Chris Evans or Robert Downey Jr. or whatever. You know, how many people played Batman? How many people played Spider-Man? I mean, recast. Yes, they were perfect for those roles, but you can't lose your main characters just because an actor doesn't want to do that anymore. And that's, you know, it was a heartfelt ending for Cap. It was a, you know, dramatic heroes ending for Iron Man, but then you're stuck with, you know, the Eternals. And
well,
come on.
I mean, I think it was perfect stories for those characters, and I think it was great the way they ended them. I think the problem was if they had been able to like immediately usher in the X-Men or the Fantastic Four, then they would have had some more, you know, top tier characters to bring in right away to kind of replace them. But for whatever reason, you know, whether it was legal or whatever, they didn't bring those characters in. So then we were stuck with sort of these less known lower tier characters right after Endgame. And also, to be honest, I don't think they really had a great plan after Endgame. And now it seems like they are stuck in this mode where they feel like they have to match Endgame, right? So then we're getting this huge multiverse saga. Like you're saying, oh, 60 heroes are going to be in Doomsday. It's like,
don't say that. Larry's listening.
Larry's delicate ears. But it's like, you can't keep always trying to top the thing you did, right? That's just like a recipe for disaster. You know, they need to come up with something new, another direction to go. But if you keep trying to repeat the same thing you did before, you're not going to succeed. And I think that's the trap they kind of got into.
Well, see, when they were building, I mean, the Avengers is like the tent pole on all these things. So as they were building up to the first Avengers and then building up to the second Avengers and even getting into Infinity War and Endgame, there was a path. They had a plan, a singular path to those movies, and they built it slowly. Here's a film on this character, here's a film on that character, here's one here, here's a sequel to that one. And now we're going to team them all up. Once you're invested in those characters, then they team them all up. Well, now it's kind of like, all right, Shang-Chi was pretty good, but where's his second movie? Ms. Marvel, say what you will, or Captain Marvel, say what you will. How long until they had a second movie for her?
Yeah.
So it's like they're just kind of throwing all these heroes out and seeing what sticks and what doesn't. And it's like they don't have a plan. It's kind of like all over the place. So, I mean, Kevin Feige was supposed to be the man with the plan, right? And it almost seems like he's lost his way. Now, is it because the heads of Disney have changed, or the fact that Disney even got involved in the first place? I mean, he may not have the power he used to have, but somebody has to right the ship and guide it along its course. And because that's really the problem with DC, is they wanted the Justice League to be like the Avengers, but they rushed it. And so you had characters in there like, who the hell is Cyborg? Unless you've read comics. So it's like they rushed it and threw it out there instead of taking the time to build this universe and bring these characters all together. And, when the first Avengers film came out, you cared about every one of those characters because you've seen their story, you've seen their origin, you've seen an arc for most of them. But I don't know, can they take this and build on it? And I mean, I don't know what other movies are coming out before the next Avengers. I mean, you got the new Captain America, with Sam Wilson and that, but I don't know.
Well, so speaking of movies that are coming out, and I think this is accurate. I pulled it off the internet, so we all know how accurate the internet is.
It's on the internet. It must be true.
It must be true, damn it. And I've included the Sony movies in here just for shits and giggles. The next movie is Venom, The Last Dance, in October of this year.
I saw it. Did you guys see the trailer for that before? Yeah. Oh, really? Because when I went and saw Deadpool and Wolverine, they had the trailer for that.
They had the Captain America trailer at my showing.
Mine too.
Then in December, the Kraven the Hunter movie. I'd pretty much forgotten about that, but that's apparently been...
Pretty much tried to forget about that.
Yeah, for sure. The Captain America Brave...
I don't know how well he's going to do as Kraven. Supposedly he's the new Bond from things I read. I don't know, but it was like Kraven is like some kind of like peace-loving animal activist guy or something, and I don't know. It ain't Kraven. That's all I can say.
Captain America Brave New World in February of next year. So we get 3 Marvel movies next year. Captain America in February, the Thunderbolts in May, and then the Fantastic Four movie, Fantastic Four First Steps, in July. Oh, wait a minute. 4 Marvel movies, because Blade is supposed to also come out in November. So that's kind of a big year for Marvel. We'll see how that goes.
I think the whole year, the whole next phase, the whole everything is really going to depend on what they do with the Fantastic Four. Is it going to be another crappy movie? Or are they going to do it and do it right and do it where everyone's going to enjoy it?
Flame on!
I want to talk a little bit about Fantastic Four First Steps then.
My friends, we are leaving Deadpool and Wolverine. We are going to get into the future of the MCU. Before we do that, though, I am going to ask Jay to make a t-shirt for me that says on the front, I'm a lower tiered Marvel hero. And on the back say, and now you're all stuck with the Eternals. I think that is going to be an awesome selling t-shirt. Have the Planet 8 logo on the sleeve, so it's proprietary. And now let's get into the future of the MCU in the next couple of 2 or 3 years. Walker, take it away.
Okay. Well, I just so Fantastic Four, first steps. I was not at San Diego Comic-Con, so I just know what everybody else knows from the videos and stuff that's been published. I don't know. I was not particularly excited when the cast was announced.
But were you particularly excited when Chris Evans was announced as Captain America?
So yeah, there's that. They could surprise me with the cast. Now they're doing something which I've been in favor of for years, which is they're setting it in the 60s.
Period piece, if you will.
But it's sort of a retro fantasy version of the 60s. So there's like, it's like almost like a Walt Disney vision of what the 60s should have been or something.
I was thinking more of like the aesthetics of The Incredibles.
Yeah, it could be that.
They didn't necessarily say this is the 60s, but it did have that feel, if you will.
See, I always say the future was never as cool as it was in the past. So it's like in the 60s, when you talk about the retro futuristic 60s, there are some cool aesthetics in that. And if they kind of think of like a shag film or something, it's like if they do the kind of retro 60s type feel, it could be very cool.
Like,
it is yet in the universe anyway, so.
My only concern is that they may play it sort of goofy or campy.
Well, see that they can't.
Because they
can to a point. Because you always have the kind of jabs between Johnny and Ben and, things like that. And so, yeah, they could have spot humor, but they're going to have to treat it fairly serious.
Well, we'll see. Like one of the things they showed is that Reed, apparently his name, Mr. Fantastic, comes because he hosts like a Mr. Wizard show for kids about science.
I think that's kind of fun. Okay, let's see how that works out.
It's like I like that Marvel movies have some humor in it. I just worry that it's going to be too humorous. You know what I mean? They're going to push it too far is what I worry about. And another thing that concerns me is they're putting Galactus in the first movie. Why? Why do we have to go with the universe threat in the very first movie? Because there's nowhere to go. Once you do that, it's like, where do you go from there? It's like doing Endgame for the first movie.
Well, the second movie would be the Mole Man.
That's what I'm saying. Like, why do you start with the most, mind-boggling, supreme, like, threat in the very first movie? It's like,
they got to do it and not make him a cloud is all.
I'm all in. I love Galactus. I hope they do it right. More people are concerned and upset about a female Silver Surfer. I have no problem with that either.
It's just like, why make the change?
What was that line in Star Trek 3 or Star Trek 4 where Scotty's like, they've done this to the warp drive. Well, new ideas, new concept. Man.
Yeah, but how does it improve the character?
Well, and again, these are questions that we're asking the MCU, but they're making money hand over foot and creating
money. With all, they didn't make money with Captain Marvel.
Money doesn't mean it's artistically better.
But it's like,
that's our opinion again too.
It's okay, if you're going to change a gender, you're going to change a race of a character, fine, whatever. But it's like now they're constantly doing it. They're doing it just to do it, and that's, I think, what gets to people.
Yeah, if it works,
here we go again. Another character's changed.
If it works, it works. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work.
And then again, this is there was a second Silver Surfer, and she was female. It was Norrin Rad's girlfriend or whatever.
Johnny Ray.
What's that?
Johnny Ray.
Frankie Ray
Frankie Ray. There you go.
was Johnny Storm's girlfriend.
Yes. Johnny Storm's
Oh,
girlfriend.
it's Shala Ball.
Became Nova. No, Shala Ball was Norrin Rad's girlfriend that he left on Zenla.
She's the one that's going to be the Silver Surfer.
Yeah. And I'm sure they're saying, well, this is, it's the multiverse. So in this multiverse, she became the Silver Surfer and not Norrin Rad. It's like,
And
okay.
I do enjoy the What If animated series where, Peggy Carter becomes Captain America.
But this is the thing. And it's the same thing with Robert Downey Jr. becoming Doom. That's fine if we get to see the Prime Universe example first, right? Because then you can play off it. But like in both these cases, we haven't seen the Norrin Rad Silver Surfer. We haven't seen the Victor Von Doom. They're just throwing in the alternate universe versions, whatever, first. It's just, I don't know. I feel like this multiverse is kind of in the MCU from the inside out. It's just super gimmicky, and it doesn't really have a payoff ultimately. It's like, oh yeah, look at all the different versions of this or whatever. It's like, that's cool, but it doesn't give us a great story necessarily. And now they're doubling down on it with Doomsday and Secret Wars, which is totally multiversal, all about the universes kind of collapsing on each other.
Well, I'll give you this, Walker, because when it was Star Trek, the Romulans and the Remulans, and it's what the hell is the name of that movie?
Nemesis.
And Brent Spiner was like, oh, we got the writer for Gladiator, and we're going to be collaborating. And Gladiator was this wonderful, epic film of tragedy and loss and redemption. And so my point is, you may get great stars together. You may get the greatest writers, the Russo brothers, and they can still produce shit just like anyone else. It's not necessarily going to be gold. So I give that to you, Walker. And you make a great point about give us Norrin Rad before you give us, Shala Ball. Give us, and I joked around about it, but maybe they should have started with the Mole Man. And, maybe the last 5 minutes of the Fantastic Four movie be like the Avengers, where Thanos is sitting on a throne. Galactus is in his ship saying, I hunger. Something like that would work better. But I don't know. I guess we'll have to wait a year and a half to see how they do this and why they did it.
And, years ago, I would have had that trust in Marvel. I would have said, well, yeah, they've done everything right so far, so I'll go with it. But after, a series of films that maybe haven't been so great and TV shows that have been kind of mediocre, now I'm sort of questioning everything they do, which is unfortunate.
And with all the stuff that they're doing with, even though I loved, like I said, Loki, why didn't they follow up? There are these loose threads, like Bob said, Shang-Chi. What happened to the second movie?
Mm-hmm.
Where the hell's the Vision? What happened to there was this great story in WandaVision, and
they're going to make a Vision series.
Too little, too late? I don't know. I mean, I hate what they did with the Scarlet Witch. I've only ever seen the second Doctor Strange movie once. I was so disappointed.
Really?
Yeah, I should go see it again, but I don't know. We'll see. That's one I did not get physical media of.
I like that one.
I got it.
I should probably go see it again. I guess I had certain expectations. They weren't met, and I went back to my comfort food and watched Batman versus Superman.
Well, for whatever reason, Marvel does a pretty good job sometimes of keeping secrets. Because, you saw Wanda in the movie. Okay, Wanda's in there. And all of a sudden, oh, she's the main villain. I see. Like I always go back to when Darth Vader tells Luke, "I am your father." It's like there was no spoiler for that. There's no internet or anything to spoil that. You went to that movie and that was like, how much of an impact did that have on you when you saw that on the screen? That was huge.
Right.
And there could still be huge movie moments, but they're all leaked and spoiled and everything else. And so yeah, I mean, big movies coming out, I try to stay off the internet and not check stuff out. But
It's so hard to do. I know. And even, you'll be in line for a movie. Well, not in line now. You just sit down because you reserve your seats, but they'll be talking about whatever. And it's like, hey, keep it down.
Yeah, it's terrible. People are like posting scenes from the movie like 2 days before the movie. Like it compels you to go out and see these things, right away, because otherwise everything's going to be spoiled for you. It's almost impossible not to wind up seeing or hearing things if you don't.
I will say I did make another milestone since I've been married for, I forget how many years. This is the first Marvel film I saw by myself. Jackman opted out. So
well, me too. For other reasons.
That's right. Different reasons though. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, she even saw the Avengers with me twice, but this one's like,
I do think Deadpool has more of an appeal to, and I'm not trying to be sexist, but
to us 14-year-old boys.
me and Bob.
To guys rather than to women, but that's okay. But yeah, so what about the RDJ thing? Because one of my issues, besides just like it seems kind of, grasping at straws, because they could have brought him back as another universe's Iron Man, but they bring him back as Doom. And the thing we all know about Doom is like that mask doesn't come off. Like Doom, he's not Iron Man. He doesn't flip his thing back all the time. Doom wears the mask. So,
well, then how do we know he's not Victor Von Doom?
Well, they didn't say he's playing Victor Von Doom.
He's playing a different character.
They said he's playing Doctor Doom. So it could be, people are speculating like wildfire, but it could be Tony Stark. And I was having a side conversation with Walker when the news broke. I stopped reading comic books when they started doing the Ben Parker clone story and the Young Avengers and
the whole clone thing kind of that's
Stark as Doom, and they've done a couple apparently stories about Stark as Doom. So
yeah, so it could be that. It could be that. And I realize now it's like, oh, I'm not the expert on Marvel anymore that I used to be because I stopped reading like 10 years ago.
Not at this point. We're out of the loop.
Yeah. And this whole Secret Wars that they're going to do is not based on the original Secret Wars. It's based on the new Secret Wars. So yeah,
he's not going to get his black costume.
Unfortunately, no.
Unless Venom, something happens at the end of Venom 3 that we don't know about yet.
I just, the one thing I want them to do is to do a movie that adapts Hulk 181, where that's where Wolverine first appears, and they could do it just like Predator, where like Wolverine is being sent out to fight the Wendigo. Like they find out, oh, the Wendigo is like attacking people. You need to go and get him, and they can even send him out with like a special forces type team, right? And they go out and they start investigating, and then, or no, they send him out to get the Hulk. And then they find like all these people half eaten, and they're like, Hulk doesn't eat people. What's going on here? And then they run into the Wendigo, and then the Hulk shows up, and it's just complete madness, right? They could do something like that. That would be so awesome. And then I could, if anything happened, if a bus hit me, whatever, it would be okay because I would have seen that comic.
I agree with you, Walker, but I need to have Cracker Jack Jackson involved in that story somehow, some way. Then.
Jack Jackson, yep. Maybe we'd have to have Hulk, hanging out with Cracker Jack Jackson, and then the Wendigo, unfortunately, munches Cracker Jackson like a box of Cracker Jacks. Mhm.
Berserks the Hulk.
And then Hulk is like, "Whoa, Cracker Jack! Oh, now
You
me
eat
smell
my
it.
friend.
Oh, it taught me to eat beans."
If only we wrote for the MCU.
If only, yes. Well, there would be more Hulk smashing and Hulk eating beans. So
Just a final thought on Robert Downey Jr. playing Doctor Doom. Will there be a Victor Von Doom from an alternate universe? Will there be a Tony Stark as Iron Man from a? I mean, how much of a mashup are we looking at in Doomsday and Secret Wars and or any side TV projects? Agatha. I'm looking forward to Agatha series coming up. I like that actress and I enjoy that character. Could be a total letdown and failure, but we'll see. One of the things going back to Deadpool and Wolverine that I forgot to mention is I want to know why Thor was crying over Deadpool. That's a loose string. I hope they
have to wait for one of the events.
I did like how every time Deadpool would wake up, he would either say "God of Thunder" or "Thor."
So
that was pretty funny.
That was. I also enjoyed him interviewing to be an Avenger, and there was Happy. Hey, no, I'm the guy. I'm the guy. Okay. Yeah.
Do you guys have any? Are you excited for the new Captain America movie?
Yes, I very much am. I'm trying to avoid spoilers, but I kind of already heard something's going to happen. So whether it happens or not, I hope not. I don't want to spoil it for you guys.
Don't say nothing.
Yep, I'm going to keep it tight-lipped. But yeah, I'm excited. How about you, Bob?
Yeah, well, I'm excited to a point. Because
cautiously
excited. I mean, I liked Falcon and the Winter Soldier. It was all, a goose pimply moment when Sam finally puts on the uniform and comes out as Captain America. And I think one character says, like, "Who's that?" And then Bucky's like, "That's Captain America."
Yeah.
It was a great moment. And then the whole ending, as he's doing his flying and flips and shield and everything. I mean, it's really cool. And I like Sam Wilson as a character. However, you hear all these stories about test screenings and not going well and reshoots and adding characters. And it seems like it has kind of the potential to turn into like one big soup piece of mess. But I'm hoping it's good. I'm looking forward to Red Hulk.
Oh yeah.
See,
which I did not care for in the comic, but I didn't care for the Red Hulk in the comic, but cinematically, let's see how they use him.
Well, it's interesting that Harrison Ford decided to put his toe in the Marvel universe.
I know.
He's just such a funny guy, and the fact that, like, for years he would kind of slough off all the Star Wars stuff and everything, and now he's in like probably the biggest franchise. It's just like, really, dude, you decided to do it. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see how he plays General Ross, or President Ross, I guess now.
President Ross, yeah.
But yeah, I'm really interested to see like the progression of Sam as Captain America, right? Because yeah, Falcon and Winter Soldier, he was so hesitant to take on that role, which makes sense. Like, who wants to follow Steve Rogers as Captain America? But yeah, to see the progression, and it looks like he has a even better uniform. That final uniform they gave him was kind of.
It was kind of like Cap's uniform in the first Avengers movie. It's kind of like.
It's not quite there yet, but yeah, it looks better. So yeah, hopefully. But I know, Bob, they did say they went through a lot of reshoots and stuff, so that sometimes means disaster. But we'll see. Hopefully they pulled it together.
Yeah, I agree. You excited for it, Walker?
Yeah, yeah, I'm just, you know, it's like
Cautiously optimistic.
hoping it works out. Yeah.
You know, nothing to do with the MCU, but the Prometheus movies. I so wanted to love them, and boy, what a letdown!
Yeah, I remember us talking because we were both so hyped for Prometheus and so pissed after it came out.
Well, I mean, speaking of that, one of the trailers I saw before Deadpool and Wolverine was for a new Alien movie.
Yes.
Oh, Romulus.
Alien Romulus. I don't know if I should say anything.
Go ahead.
I don't want everybody to think I'm the negative person on Planet 8. Okay, my thing is, you guys know I love Alien, and I love Aliens.
Yes.
And after that, it's not. I don't feel like the Alien franchise has been well served, right?
Yeah.
And so I see this thing, and it's like, I feel like they're trying to redo the original film, but all they're focused on is like all the gross out stuff. You know, like when you look at that trailer they showed for Alien Romulus, and think about like the original Alien trailer. The original Alien trailer, they didn't really show you very much, but it was really suspenseful. And like you didn't know what was going to happen, but you knew something really freaking scary was going to happen in that movie. The Alien Romulus, bang, 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 shit's happening left or right. Oh, there's something on this woman's chest and she's convulsing. People are like foaming at the mouth. There's gum everywhere. I'm just like, it's
with all this kung fu and dynamite.
It was way over the top and just like the antithesis of the original Alien. And I'm just like, that's like if somebody just took all the like gory, egg exploding, chest bursting, whatever scenes from the first couple of movies and just put them all together. And like, that's what we think Alien is about.
Well, that's kind of what trailers are these days. I mean, you've got like a 2-hour movie, then you're taking like a minute out of it. So of course they're going to take all the gore scenes or action scenes or whatever and stick them all to make this trailer look like this is a big, exciting movie.
It doesn't tell a story in and of itself. Like trailers used to be an art form. Like people used to put trailers together not to show you like, here's all the scenes that we can squeeze in 30 seconds. But it used to be like, here's the feeling you're going to have watching this movie, and it was just, it was just shit. I hated that trailer. I don't even know that I'll see that movie.
Well,
I guess we will be doing an episode on that one.
On that note, I believe it's time for our censor sweep. This is where we share with you, the viewers and listeners. And if you've been listening to the podcast and not watching it on YouTube, I highly recommend you jump over to YouTube, because we're going to show you things that have not been seen before or possibly after. So let's go ahead and kick it off with Walker. What do you got?
I have the least visually interesting things because all I do is read books anymore. So I've been on a Planet of the Apes thing kick lately. I picked up a couple of bleeding books.
Books are good. Ooh.
This first book is an anthology of stories called Tales from the Forbidden Zone. Now, I did read this book many years ago, and I actually, my friend Doug and I from Bronze Age Babies, we did a blog on one of the stories from this book called The Pacing Place, which was about an alternate version of what happened to Taylor and Nova after the end of Planet of the Apes. But this is a really, really good book. It has a lot of short stories that run the gamut of like things that happened in the movies, things that happened in the TV series, but sort of like just standalone stories, alternate takes, side stories with the characters, things like that. So highly recommend that for any Planet of the Apes fan. And then when I was a kid, I had all the novelizations of the films. They were fairly slim paperbacks. for all the movies. And then somewhere along the line, either moving or whatever, I did have a catastrophe where a bunch of books got wet and got moldy and I had to throw them out. Somehow, anyway, all my Planet of the Apes books went bye-bye. So I did get this big honkin' book, which collects, anyway, it has Conquest and Battle for the Planet of the Apes. It also, unfortunately, has the 2001 Planet of the Apes film. I will read Conquest and Battle for the Planet of the Apes. Now, Conquest, the novelization is written by John Jakes, and John Jakes wrote a whole bunch of fantasy novels set in this place called Gore, which were these semi-pornographic fantasy novels. So I'm interested to see what he does with Conquest. And Battle for the Planet of the Apes was written here by David Gerrold. And of course, Star Trek fans will know David Gerrold wrote Trouble with Tribbles and some other Star Trek episodes. So anyway, that's my contribution, gentlemen.
Bob, what have you?
Haven't been doing a lot of buying lately, but my friend Mark Thompson, he usually does tiki paintings, things like that. And he was doing some models and I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. So he ended up sending me this creature from the Black Lagoon bust that he painted, which I think is very cool. I'm not usually into the red-lipped creature. I can give you my theories behind that, but no, I think the original creature from Black Lagoon suit did have red lips, but I don't think they had intended it to be red lips. It was just that was a color in black and white that allowed the mouth to show up more or be more pronounced or whatever. I mean, they could have painted him, purple with polka dots or whatever, but that was just so it showed up well on a black and white film. But anyway, so I got that creature.
Is that iridescent paint on the scales or is it just glossy?
On some of it.
That's really nice.
Like the shell down here and the rope.
Shout out to Mark Thompson.
Mark Thompson, yes. Now, the reason I haven't been buying a lot and doing a lot is because I've been totally engulfed in Godzilla Fest. And since the last episode, we did have Godzilla Fest at the Balboa, which was a rousing success and packed all 3 days. And everyone had a blast. Amazingly, the big movies of the weekend were Godzilla versus Biollante.
One of my favorites.
Godzilla versus Destroya.
Another good one.
Of course, Shin Godzilla. Shin Godzilla always drags them in. So we now have our Godzilla Fest convention coming up in September. And you can go to GodzillaFest.com. And right now it points to the Godzilla Fest section of our Bay Area film events page. But there is a ticket link where you can get day passes and weekend passes. And after the podcast today, I have to go and work on all the other ticket stuff. But we will have a whole new website dedicated to Godzilla Fest. And I have yet to see it, but it is being worked on. And hopefully, maybe by the podcast, the time this airs, that maybe we'll have the new one up. But there'll be a meet and greet on Friday. There'll be a full dealer's room. Kevin just about I think he sold out all the booths in the dealer's room. There's just a few tables left. We're going to have a Saturday night special double feature movie over at the 4-Star Theater on Clement. And Stern Pinball is donating a couple Godzilla pinball machines so you can come out and be a pinball wizard. We got a lot of cool stuff going on. And we have confirmed our guest for the weekend, which is Megumi Odaka, who played Miki Segusa, the woman with the psychic link to Godzilla in all the 90s Godzilla films. She's been in like 6 Godzilla films, more than any other actor as the same character. And so she was in Biollante all the way up through Destroya. And so we're going to be showing her favorite, Space Godzilla, Godzilla versus Space Godzilla Saturday night, along with Godzilla versus Destroya. And we'll have tickets for that up shortly. So it's going to be a big event. Oh, and I just talked to Mari, who is heading up the cosplay aspect of this. And she claims she's going to get about 300 cosplayers out for this thing.
Whoa.
And so if you like dressing up like a character from Godzilla or whatever, or a monster, let your imagination run wild and come on out. I know she's got a lot of people that are going to dress up in 40s clothing.
Nice.
Just like in -1. And she's also got, and we're going to branch out a little bit. She's got a whole group of Kamen Riders coming out. And so it's going to be pretty dang cool. It's September 13th, 14th, 15th in the Japan Center Mall in San Francisco. And it's going to take up the whole mall. And it's going to be big.
Looking forward to it.
.com. Check it out.
Looking forward to it. You guys need to let me know if you'd buy t-shirts that say I'm a lower tiered Marvel hero and now you're stuck with the Eternals. I really love that. Speaking of stuck with the Eternals, we forgot to mention the other bit of news that came out of Comic-Con. The source of adamantium is the Eternal. The Celestial. Sorry, not the Eternal. The Celestial. What a revelation.
I know that's been one of Karen's complaints, that like we have these Celestials out in the ocean and nothing ever happened with them.
Never happened. Well, there's so much.
They're finally going to address it in Captain America.
There's so much that, they haven't really followed back up on. A lot of loose threads.
Now you're stuck with the Eternals. I love that.
I figure no one saw the Eternals, so the Celestials don't matter much.
Oh, your mission commander. In digging through, for like over a year, I've been looking for my Star Trek CDs from La La Land. And they were found tucked away in my father-in-law's storage locker. Oh, the joy. Oh. Going from joy to, oh, the pain. Oh, the pain, Will. Woo, I almost dropped it. Lost in Space as well. Whoa. These are long sold out. What's that, Bob?
I was just imitating the...
Oh, Dr. Smith. Long sold out, but as promised from last week, you'll notice in the glass case to my left, your right, viewers, there's something missing. A good friend Jeff Winkle went out and repainted my creature bust from Sideshow. And I mean, he did, this thing's heavy, sorry, an amazing job. It's still a little gucked up on the bottom, but still numbered and preserved, not the original paint job, but man, this thing is beautiful. Really weird, as I hold it close to the camera, I kind of smell smoke still. So
I feel so inadequate now.
It now tells a story. Well,
they're both wonderful.
They are both
way up to the camera here.
Boom.
Shout out to Jeff.
Shout out to Jeff. The man is amazing. There's a mask convention he won't make it to Godzilla Fest. He'll be away that weekend. But Mike's going to be there, right?
Yeah.
Doing a little demo.
He's actually going to do a painting demo.
I'm looking forward to that. Mike's very talented, as well as Jeff. It's going to be fun. But anyway, that's all I got. That's all you got. That's all we got. Like, subscribe, and comment on YouTube. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. We're not on Threads yet. I don't know that we will go on Threads, but Twitter, Facebook.
Or
Yeah, and YouTube, and spread the word. We're if we get 1,000 subscribers on YouTube, we can start doing live YouTube videos and podcasts like those big guys.
Instead of these dead ones that we do now.
We're gonna do elevators soon. Being a little snarky, but I'm excited. I want to do the invaders. I'm very excited about it.
The invaders are coming, so beware. By the time your mission commander comes back to you, yes. He will have gone to GalaxyCon in San Jose, August
You going to GalaxyCon?
18th. I am.
Wow, the Inglorious Trexperts are going to be there.
And
I need
unfortunately,
to go for one reason and one reason only.
Yeah.
Because John Cleese is going to be there.
John Cleese. They have the most eclectic mix of celebrities this year. It's not even funny.
I said I would never do another cattle call for photos or whatever, but I may have to for Mr. Cleese.
That's one. Yes, the Inglorious Trexperts are going to be there. I'm going to drop by and say hello. Unfortunately, I will not be able to go to the Shatner portion that they're doing Sunday.
I really thought about that.
You get to watch Star Trek V with the Trexperts and Shatner and have a Q&A afterwards.
Yeah, that sounds awesome.
Oh man, that is just
although I am very, very seriously considering going to the Star Trek sets in Ticonderoga in November when Shatner's there.
You know, I saw your comment on Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to go. I also saw the memory about Las Vegas Star Trek. Your mission commander has a trip to Australia coming up. My cousin's getting married, and I don't know if I could financially pull a Ticonderoga Star Trek trip out. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, I know. I've got Italy in September, but I was like, man, because I don't know. Shatner.
That's the thing. I don't want to be negative, but he's not going to last forever.
Right. So I'm thinking I'm gonna have to do it.
All right. Well, we'll talk.
No globe trotting for me that I know of.
Hey, Monsterpalooza, Son of
I'll be at Monsterpalooza, Son of Monsterpalooza in October. So.
All right, you can pass out some cards.
They're doing Sun in the old Burbank location, right?
Yeah, that's where Sun is.
I loved that location. I thought that was great.
I want to go to that. Not this year though, but
yeah, me either. Can't do it this year.
I've been to Sun Up before. I mean, it's not as big as regular Monsterpalooza, but
and that's okay. I thought Monsterpalooza was starting to become like Comic-Con. It's just
it's waiting in lines all the time.
Yeah.
But for October, my friend Kevin D'Antonio, who is telling me I need a trip. So he has a table at Son of Monsterpalooza.
Huh.
And so we're going to load all this crap on my truck. I'm going to get one of his vendor badges and we're going to go to Son of Monsterpalooza.
Awesome. So, you'll have to
We'll be strapped to the table. So if anyone wants to come up and say hi and hang out with me at Monsterpalooza, I will be totally available.
Okay. On that note, this concludes this episode of Planet 8. Thank you guys for listening and watching and commenting and supporting us. Stay safe. Take care. Signing off. Over and out. Wilco. Live long and prosper.
On that note, this will conclude this transmission from Planet 8. We would like to thank all of our intergalactic audience for listening. Be sure to head on over to our website at www.planet8podcast.com, where you can get more information on this episode's topic.
For more conversation, find us on Twitter at Planet8Cast.
Or on Facebook at facebook.com/Planet8Podcast.
We want to thank you guys for tuning in each and every episode. We look forward to your input and opinions. Until next time, this is Planet 8 signing off. End transmission.
By George, he's got it. It is the end.